just discovered Arthur's journal with John. I was like, we never got to finish reading his journal, but we can still finish reading his journal. Saw Mr. Mason again. This time he was taking pictures of wolves, still doing his hardest to get himself eaten. Get back to where we were, because we read all of these. A couple of episodes ago. He's a good artist. He was a good artist. We went after them. Sorry, I'm just going quickly through it. I'm just trying to get to where we were. We should be almost there. This was creepy. We took Jack fishing. More problems have befallen us, more running. Leviticus Cornwall, the oil, sugar rail and greed merchant whom we robbed a while back, had us ambushed in Valentine. Seems he had added to the price on our heads. We shot our way out of town and narrowly escaped with our lives. The only amusing aspect of the horror was his Strauss getting grazed and acting like he was preparing for a short trip down to hell. After this, we fled the country and headed even further south and east, camping by a lake. This was pretty much new country for me. Charles and I saved a family of Germans. They helped us when we were sick, who were in the process of getting themselves killed. He's a better man than me. He does not need to sing to be good. It comes naturally to him. Like right is deep within, as opposed to this conflict between good and evil that rages within me. If only we had fled west, out of Blackwater, we could be free now, out where we belong, beyond civilization of the savages and the animals. Here we won't ever be at home. Turns out we're holed up outside a town called Rhodes, deep in old cotton country. The place has not recovered from the war, and those folks that's sober enough to think are still angry. The drunk, which is most of them, are angrier still, but perhaps for other reasons. Adding to the absurdity, we appear to be planning to deputize ourselves into the local law enforcement, and have already taken down a major bounty on their behalf, and mostly to rescue slippery old Trelawney, who had got himself arrested for some of his usual nonsense. Seems like there's a long-running blood feud between two old families here, and both Dutch and Hosea believe they may be sitting on a lot of gold. We shall see, I guess. Mrs. Adler, the widow we rescued a while back, might have been the craziest one of us all. She fights like a concerned polecat, a cornered polecat, with a rage and a bloodlust that frightens the hell out of me. I ever get on the wrong side, and I am a dead man. I don't intend to. She's a fine woman, amusing and good-hearted, and decent and angry. I took her shopping to stop her filleting old Pearson right in camp. After we got jumped, she went insane and showed she can kill with the best of us. Met a fella called Miss Margaret, an animal trainer and showman or showwoman, mistress of danger, quite a character, wants me to find some missing animals. A while ago I met an old man dressed as a lady animal trainer. Are all Englishmen that weird, I wonder? All his animals were as fake as the rest of his act, until I was to find out and retrieve a real lion from somewhere or other in Africa. I thought it was going to be another dog, but no, it was a real lion. Thing looked like it wanted me for its next meal. After hunting a zebra that was a donkey, and a tiger that was a cougar, and another lion that was just a dog, or I think that's right. I think I've lost track of the whole thing, and as assistant that's real woman, and him a strange English maniac in a dress pretending to be all that he isn't. Remind yourself never to go on stage. The weird English guy gave me a pretty decent emerald as payment for my troubles. Maybe he wasn't so bad after all. That emerald was about as real as the zebra and worth a whole lot less. Seems Miss Margaret made idiots out of us all. What did I expect? A man who dealt in fake tigers gave out real gems. Finally, we have achieved a state of true insanity. For the first time in my life, I'm a deputized lawman. We went off with some moronic dupe deputy, working for the alcohol-drenched Sheriff Grey, pursuing some moonshiners. That she's convinced this will somehow lead to riches beyond compare. Seems the one powerful local family, the Greys, ex-Scots, is warring with another proud English family, the Braithwaites, like some long-running dispute from the border country. Apparently there's gold or women or something at the root of all of this, and if it's gold, we want it. Either way, we are so deep in the swamp and so entirely lost ourselves. I hope it'll take the Pinkertons and their like a long while to find us. We shall see. In the meantime, a new career path in law seems to await. Seems like amongst our other perils, a gang called the Lemoyne Raiders won't take too kindly to outsiders or anyone who ain't living in the distant past. Found a crazy young woman, real strange looking, locked in a kind of outhouse hidden on Braithwaite Manor. World ain't a kind place for folk like her. Found yet another body. Some maniac is killing these people for sport. Guess I'm going to pay him or her a visit. Found a murderer, man named Edmund Lowry. Took him in to the sheriff in Valentine after he nearly killed me. He jumped the sheriff. I killed him. Nasty bastard he was. He was a crazy guy. I saw an old church. Found it interesting. Not sure why. I like how you can see his fingerprints. It's like we've got a little piece of him still with us. Braithwaite Manor. Moonshine. I've met some charming women in my time. Catherine Braithwaite, the mother of hen to that particular bunch of roosters, ain't one of them. A sour old jug of piss and bullshit I ain't never met. Even Hosea's charms were lost upon her. She refused to offer our offer of selling her back her shine, and instead got us to give it away to annoy the saloon owner in town. Hosea put on quite a show until we got interrupted by the bastards we robbed when grabbing the stuff. We just about escaped. On the other hand, I met this poor bastard grey boy. Pow. I hope they're okay. And his forbidden love, Miss Penelope, quite the most alive creation we have met down here. Suddenly I'm marching as a suffragette. The looks of loathing on the faces of the locals delighted me, while their leader, a Mrs. Calhoun, amused me. I don't know much about good causes, nor the joys of democracy, but I enjoy my little experience riding alongside them. World is certainly changing fast. Charles and I went looking for Trelawney, who was staying in Rhodes. He's been accosted by some bounty hunters who was looking for him and a means of getting to us. Whole thing turned nasty and he's been treated pretty bad, but we got him out of there. He seemed worried that there might be more following in their wake, so he came back to camp with us. There always seems to be more bounty hunters, Pinkertons, lawmen. Everywhere we go, there's more and more civilization. Perhaps this is it from now on. We shall see, I guess. This whole place is beginning to give me the creeps. I want to get back in the open country of the West, or what's left of it. But even that ain't the way I remember it. We went horse thieving, our greed getting the better of us. Believed a yarn spun us by one of that Grey family, the patriarch, Tavish. A particularly unpleasant one of what seems a reasonably unpleasant family. He had us believing that the Braithwaite women owned some highly priced English thoroughbreds or Arab chargers or whatever they were supposed to be, and imagine we was going to be wonderfully rich. At the end of it, we felt like prize idiots. So I guess at least some prizes was being handed out. I remember this guy. He made me very upset. Stumbled into this all drunk on the streets of Rhodes. I don't know quite why he made an impression. The world is full of self-pitying drunks. Hell, I hope to grow into one myself. But something about this fellow, Jeremiah Compson, blamed everyone else for his plight, lost his career and his home, wanted me to go find a few trinkets at his home, Compson State, just north of Scarlet Meadows. Maybe I'll head over there sometime. Went to the house. Don't feel so bad for him now. Feel like a fool. Bastard was a slave catcher. Went to see nice Mr. Compson again. Last thing he'll see. I've been recuperating after an interesting encounter with Colm O'Driscoll. Dutch got it into his mind to meet the bastard, to somehow in all of this lunacy. Only Colm did not share Dutch's sense of honor among thieves. Whole thing was a set-up to kidnap me, then lure all the rest of us into a trap, so we could get arrested and Cole could disappear away, us somehow carrying off his sin, along with our own gallows. Seems like Colm is enjoying his modern world even less than me. More by luck than judgment, I escaped and somehow got back here, more dead than alive, and collapsed into bed for a few feverish days. After much nursing from Miss Grimshaw and Miss Tilly, and much guilt-ridden apologies from Dutch over his stupidity, I survived okay. My shoulder where I was shot ain't come down with gangrene, and I will live, if even uglier than before. See, even here Dutch didn't come for us. He didn't even send anyone to look for us. Things is getting even more insane with the local population. My sense is neither the Greys nor the Braithwaites have a pot to piss in, but I ain't spent too much time with the landed gentry. Whoever else there is, they don't make one believe in the nobility of the aristocracy. Help Mr. Mason take another picture, this time of wild horses. He gave me a beautiful print of one of the wolves that nearly ate him. If he has his journal, he went back for him. It's when Sean died. Sean has been killed. I'm more sad than I can admit. I loved that little loudmouth Rich more than I knew. He was like an annoying little brother to me. What fun we had riding together, and now he's dead. His head shot half off in an ambush. What a goddamn mess we are making of things. Still no Confederate gold, but a shitload of trouble. That's when they moved into that house. We've moved again, more trouble with the Pinkertons, more trouble with the locals, more trouble all around. Little Jack's been kidnapped, so we're trying to find him. Apparently some fella in St. Denis, Senior something or other, took umbrage to our presence and kidnapped him, or heaven forbid worse. We burned down Bravewave Manor when we went hunting for him in an almighty scrap. Then we got spoken to again by Agent Milton. This time he asked us for Dutch's head on a platter. We got him to leave, but I ain't pleased with us. So we headed into Saint Denis to find little Jack. We was told he's been kidnapped by some local gangster, this Italian fella called Bronte, a local tough guy. We ain't found him, but he found us. Dutch and I headed into town, and I managed to get myself robbed by a bunch of children. This was a new low, even for my standards. Anyway, we found Mr. Bronte and are going to pay him a call. We better get the boy back soon, at not least because if we don't, Abigail will kill the lot of us. All this after we burned down the Bravewave Manor house looking for him and made some real enemies of ourselves back in that country. We're now hiding deep in the swamps, trying not to get eaten by wildlife or sunk too deep in the mud. I cannot decide which I like less, the swamps or the city. Both are full of parasites, reptiles and slimes, but the swamps prettier. Dutch is trying to think of where we can run next, but in the meantime we are deep in the swamps, hiding in some disease-ridden old plantation house, mostly swallowed up by the nature. Guess we will find Jack, get some money, then flee. But where? These bastards ain't giving up. We're a long way east of land we know, and far from real open country. Met a curious French man in a bar. Bought him a drink, and he gave me a picture. Said he was an artist, although I'm not sure I see what is so good about it. Met a monk, helped him free a couple of poor bastards from the island someplace who were kept prisoner. The monk, what was his name, brother something or other, was a good fellow, one of these innocent people who make you feel better than human beings and even about yourself a little. Must be odd to see all that goodness in the world. The place always seemed dark and brutal to me. Met a weird fella, wants 100 gallons of moonshine for love. Never heard such nonsense in my life, and I know some talkers of nonsense. Guess I'll go ask the clerk, Alden, Trelawney's disappointed friend, if maybe he knows a way of finding it, as I think there's money in it. And they say we got no money for that. That's when we went to the crocodiles to take a couple of pictures. This time Albert Mason seemed obsessed by getting eaten by alligators. Again, he managed to survive much more by luck than by judgment. Met a pair of fellas from a chain gang. Black fella named White, white fella named Black. They wanted to kill each other. They begged me to clear off some wanted posters for them. Collected the posters. Old White and Black weren't so innocent as they seem. Took the shine to a fella in Saint Denis, a professor no less, Andrew something or other. He's built an electric chair as a kind of way of killing folks as need killing. Oh, the irony of it all. Even more ironic, me so tough and him so weak, and I never got paid. Met a crazy man in Saint Denis, a professor no less, Marco Dragic. I'm still amazed by what I experienced. He had me control a tiny boat, remotely. How? I have no idea. I did not understand any of it. But even though he was annoying and sharp, in a sharp mouth, he seemed obviously highly intelligent. Was I duped? I have no idea. Wouldn't be the first time I've fallen for the rantings of an intelligent man telling me how to think. Only he didn't tell me how to think. Whole thing was odd. Told me to come see him at his lab at Dover Hill. Maybe. We did. If I want to get paid for this nonsense, I got to find a bounty, name of Wilson J. McDaniels, so he can be humanely disposed of at enormous cost to everybody, as opposed to shot in the head, like I would do. Still ain't been paid for this. I always heard Saint Denis was one of the 7 wonders of the world. If this is so, I don't care much to see the other 6. It's a depressing place that shows you the only thing worse than people is a whole lot of people. I have not ever met a lizard in a suit before, only now I have, and his name is Angelo Bronte. He is either our salvation or our damnation. The city's strongman arrived from Italy a few years ago, and now knows and controls everything and everyone. He had not harmed Jack, other than feeding him strange food, and Dutch seems to think that maybe we can get something from this oily dictator. Personally, I don't trust him more than I trust any hungry animal not to try and eat me, but for now we are somewhat safe and hidden. The whole place gives me the creeps. Mary wrote to me, wants to see me again. Oh, Mary, what fools we are. What a fool I am. Took medicine to that creepy pair as they poisoned themselves something proper. They survived, but I doubt they'll make it much longer, like a pair of circus clowns. Took McDaniels in and watched them fry. Weren't very nice, weren't very humane. The professor got upset and got involved before possibly killing himself with electricity, and I never got paid. If they catch me, I pray they hang me. The chair is a work of the devil. I went to an art gallery. Seems fine and fancy living ain't quite so different from the life in the wilderness robbing stagecoaches. Was an exhibition of paintings by the artist I met a couple of times, Charles something or other. French fella. Seems he's been doing more than painting his models. Their husbands weren't so keen on the liberties he's been taking with his subject matter. Whole thing descended into a brawl. Had to help them escape. So Mary and the awful daddy, who has taken to a drink, which unsurprisingly ain't improved him a whole lot. What a foul pig he is, taking a hawking of family heirlooms and cursing the world for it. Still a stuck-up son of a bitch. Now Mr. Linton has passed away. I wonder what he wants for his daughter. Funny thing is, I love her, and yet I'm a bad lot. Old daddy is good, upright man, and yet he treats his daughter like a possession to be mistreated and abused as he sees fit. Strange creatures, men. I don't know. All I know is that I love her, and she both loves and detests me. It never worked before, and it won't ever work now. Yet it gnaws at me. The idea of it gnaws at me like a sickness. I've got to give all that nonsense up. I'm an outlaw, a murderer, a man with a code different to ordinary folk, and Mary ain't never going to be for my world. We went to a vaudeville show in town, dancing from French, quite a business. What is wrong with me? Do I really think I can retire someplace nice and live a normal life with a wife? Am I a big enough doll to believe that is possible? My lord, now I have done everything. I went to a ball, like a fool in a fairy tale. The mayor of Saint Denis, Dutch, got us invited by old Senor Bronte, and off we trooped, trussed up like turkeys for Thanksgiving, and waxed and polished and primed to within an inch of our lives. Bronte did not mingle with the other guests, but lorded over the place like a Roman emperor, deciding who to have killed for his fun. The place was full of drunks, lunatics, liars, and clowns. But the thing was kind of fun. Managed to not get into too much trouble, and may have some business opportunities on account of inquiries there. We shall see, I guess. Seeing Bill dressed up like an ambassador and awkward as a schoolgirl was one of the funniest moments of my life. Met Evelyn Miller, the writer, which was amazing for Dutch. Met the mayor. Dutch and Isaiah seem to think the stump is a world of possibilities. They want to look into the bank and some other business opportunities. We shall see. As long as we can keep ahead of the Pinkertons and Mr. Cornwall and the rest of them for a while, maybe we shall be okay. Let's get a quick drink, yeah? Met that writer, Evelyn Miller, in the streets. He remembered me from the party. Apparently my petty crime did not go entirely unnoticed. Better keep my head down a little better. He introduced me to a couple of Indians, father and son. Son angry, father with an air of what exactly? Of something both impressive and frightening and kind about him. A great man defeated by powerful and awful forces. I do not know, but his eyes, his very manner spoke to me. Somehow I've agreed to help them. Seems they, like us, have problems with the Gilded Ape, Leviticus Cornwall, and his foul empire. We shall see how this pans out. Went to see that odd fellow, Algernon Wasp. I met at the party. Not sure how to describe him, but I won't forget him anyway. I could not do him justice. Different kind of fellow, but he says he'll pay good money for assortment of assorted feathers and eggs and whatnot for his creations for very rich women. Gave me a list of things he wants. I never did that. Met a real pair of, well, I don't know quite what they were. Names were so ridiculous I won't even begin to try and remember them. But they were Greek or Latin or gibberish, pair of twins, dead keen on insulting each other and hitting each other to impress a woman. I done lots of stupid things to impress women, but this was ridiculous. I ended up being William Tell. I think they was college boys. Guess education ain't always the answer to mankind's problems. Nice enough boys, but odd as hell. Yeah, they were idiots. So Albert again, bored of fighting animals, he tried to fight gravity. Again he somehow survived. I hope he will now retire from a life even more idiotic and dangerous than mine. Got into a fight with a drunk giant with a tiny head. Yes, that's what happened. Fellow was strangled by a barkeep who had turned off his liquor supply. Part of some kind of circus act. The show is run by a woman, Marjorie, I think. She's missing a tiny magician. I suppose we all are. He's run away into the woods. Said if I saw him, I'd send him back to them. Went back to see Calloway and Levin. Calloway, still a drunken clown, had me kidnap some old adversary, Slim Grant. They ended up shooting each other, and then Calloway turned on me. Less said, the better, but Levin has himself a book, and I will slide back into obscurity. Gunslinging ain't a life for me. I prefer good, honest killing with none of the pretensions. Found a little magician and reunited this odd family. Fella tried to give me the slip a few times, but in the end seems they love each other even more than they hate each other, or at least it was close. Want to see their show sometimes in Saint Denis, and they'll say they'll reward me, as they were broke now. We never went to see them. Rescued a woman from a pair of terrifying freaks. They'd killed her husband. I gave her a lift home. Went to see the professor at his lab. He had built a sort of mechanical sun. He seemed to think it was amazing, but we could not get the thing to work properly. I was not half as impressed with him as he was with himself. Found Charles the artist dressed up as a streetwalker, trying to flee from assorted men he's offended, fleeing to the South Seas. I wonder if we'll see him there. Kieran, that poor kid we spared from O'Driscoll's gang up in the mountains, is dead, killed by the bastards. He saved my life and I could not save his. They chopped his head off and tried to kill the lot of us. Mrs. Adler fought braver than any of us. She is driven by powerful forces I scarcely understand. That's what love has done to her, I guess. I feel like an animal living out in the mud here. Whole place gave me the creeps. Seems those of us who thought Angelo Bronte was a lizard in a suit was right, and them, as though he was a gentleman thief eager to help us on our merry way, was wrong. Boston sent us into a trap in town, told us to rob a trolley station, no money, but the entire police force waiting for us. Dutch nearly died. Lenny fought real hard. The kid is good in a fight, and saved us. Dutch is planning some big escape for us all. Some grand master plan. Everything we are attempting here seems trouble. I hope we can get out of here alive. Right now, it don't seem likely. Dutch is raging about Bronte deception or betrayal or whatever, quite as it was. Dutch don't like being made a fool of. Even Michael, with all his teasing and needling, plays it real cool with Dutch. I would not want to be Bronte right now. I cannot see Dutch letting this pass. Okay guys, we'll continue reading the journal in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know we didn't do much except read the journal, but I really want to finish reading this, and hopefully you guys also want to hear authors' only written words. Bye!